Of course, dude.
Sweet. So like I said, guys, we got a good friend of mine, badass beast in business, Tyler Adams. And Tyler, I know we just saw each other down in Omaha. And dude, I was actually thinking about it. I was like, I don't know Tyler's like intro story of how he found Family First Life. So can you kind of walk us through like, dude, who you are, what you were doing before, and then kind of the result you're having now?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I tell you, like, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to make it as brief as possible. So, I was in sales like from an early age, but never knew what life insurance was. Like, I never had life insurance. And then I started as a young kid, I was in sales, and then I ended up going in law enforcement. I did that for like, I don't know, 7 years, and I got tired of being super broke all the time. My dad was a cop, my brother was a cop, it was kind of my blood, but it just didn't make money, right? So I got out of law enforcement and I was working undercover narcotics, and I was also a SWAT operator.
What?
Before I got out, my brother got in the business, my older brother, and he became a SWAT operator too. And he was also a police officer. And September the 23rd of 9 years ago, I got a call. I was sitting at the ale house in Altamont Springs in Orlando. And it was my dad. He called me on the phone and he had bad service. So all I hear was Paul. Paul was the name of my brother. And I said, Dad, this isn't Paul. This is Tyler. I thought he accidentally called me thinking he was trying to call my brother. And then again, Paul, I'm like, Dad, this isn't Tyler. This isn't Paul. This is Tyler. You need to call Paul. And then clear as day, it came through the phone. Tyler, Paul's dead. I need you to come home. He
Oh,
was 32 years old. He was a single dad of a son with severe autism on the spectrum that's nonverbal. And he just died at 32. And I remember like that drive, because it took me 7 hours to get back home. I was holding a beer because we just celebrated me winning an award in telecom, because that's what I was doing at the time. And I
mm-hmm.
was holding a beer at the ale house, and when he told me that, I just dropped it and it just shattered all over the floor. And I remember that driving back home was the longest drive of my life. And we got there, and I went with my mom to a place called Whitehurst Funeral Home. We picked out the casket because he was the assistant chief at the time, and he was also a canine officer. And she's like, I want the thin blue line, the black casket, I want the dog print on there, I want his dog's name, I want all this other stuff, right? And then it came time, and his name was Glenn. He's like, all right, Tammy, this is going to be $32,000. And she just put her hands in her head and just started crying. We didn't have money at the time. I was definitely not rolling like I am now, right? I was living paycheck to paycheck. And even though that my brother wouldn't have cared, right? My mom, in her brain, this was the last gift she would ever be able to give my brother. So she wanted it to just be like the nicest thing that she could think of. And she was deprived of being able to do that.
Mm.
And I tell people, when you think about death, there is nothing logic about death, dude. There's not. Like, you're thinking with emotions, you're thinking with all kinds of different wavelengths in your brain that you would never think of, right? Like, I'm a very strong guy, but I'll tell you, bro, like, because I scoop brains off the pavement. I had, unfortunately, had to take someone's life in law enforcement. Like, I've seen a lot of deaths, right? Nothing shook me like this. This made me almost lose my mind for about 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
because he was like my dad growing up. And when your parents pass away, it sucks, but that's normal. It's like the natural progression of life, right? Grandparents, parents,
Right.
brothers. But when that cycle is interrupted and it's a sibling or a child, it just something triggers differently in your brain. So I knew what life insurance was at that point, because I remember thinking, man, we can't afford it. What do people do? You know, my brother didn't have any life insurance. And I think my mom and dad had like a $10,000 whole life policy on him. So that wouldn't really cover anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got through that. Fast forward to, I was like 4 years later, I was still in telecom, and I had a buddy of mine. His name is Marco Conde, and he offered me a job to leave where I was at and to go to work for him with a competitor as a director role. I accepted the job, and the day before I was supposed to quit and start, a new VP came in and fired Marco. You know Marco, right? He's
Yeah.
my so make a long story short, he left, he went to insurance. I started seeing him posted on Facebook. He was making 50 grand a month, 60 grand a month, 70 grand a month. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I called him and I'm like, bro, talk to me about what you do. And he told me, he's like, bro, I'm doing life insurance. And I'm like, oh man, for me, my why was big because of what happened to my brother. I'm like, that's awesome. And then he told me how much money he was making. So I talked with Marco for about an hour and a half. And then after getting off the phone, I ghosted him for 4 months.
Really?
So to you guys out there recruiting, if you talk to somebody and they don't just jump the second you talk to them about this opportunity, don't get pissed off at them. Like, don't get mad at them. Don't like tell them, oh, you're wasting my time, because people have to do this on their own time. Like, people are not going to do this on your clock. They're going to do it on theirs. So if you try to recruit someone and initially they're not like, I'm in, I'm quitting my job. Don't get mad. Don't think they're not serious. Just keep dripping on them every couple weeks. Develop. My guys have a hiring CRM. Literally, people that are hiring. We drip on clients.
Yeah.
Like clients follow up text. They'll send follow up text to actual recruits or their friends. It's like, yo, what's up? Where are we at? Have you thought about this? Can I answer any more questions? Right. So keep dripping on people, because you never know when their timeline's ready. So I ghosted him for like 4 or 5 months. And then finally one day I was just so tired of it. I had this new boss that came and he was terrible. I literally walked out, quit my job. I called Marco. I'm like, look, dude, like, I just quit my job. I need to get my license. What do I need to do? And I need to start making money in 14 days. Because that was right in the middle of COVID. So they cut our commission. So I wasn't making any money there either.
Yeah.
So got my commission, got licensed. And no one, like, everyone told me when I started this business, like my mom, my dad, my best friends, everyone told me not to do it. It was a terrible idea. No one makes money for 2 years in insurance. I was going to go broke. My best friend looked at me and said, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Don't do this. Right. So I had no support from anybody but my ex-wife. And she definitely was like, I believe in you. Go do it. So I quit my job and I was sitting at a table, and I remember I got licensed. It took me 3 days to finish the course and to sign up for my test. 2 days later, I took my test. Then I started getting contracted. The day I got Americo numbers, I had no numbers other than Americo. I said, I'm going to order leads. I had $1,687 in my bank account. That was it. That literally, I had no credit cards. I had $1,687 to my name, all in. That's all I had. I was married at the time with 2 kids, and I had rent due. This was on the 15th, so I had rent due in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I spent $1,200 of my last $1,687 on leads that I had in my name. That was it. And that was the only time that my ex-wife ever came to me. And I know I keep saying ex-wife, we're still good. That's not why we got divorced. I promise. We made it a couple years past. But I spent $1,200 my last $1,687 on leads. And she came to me and she said, Tyler, that was a mistake. We don't have any money. I said, trust me, just give me 2 weeks and I'm going to make it back. I didn't have an option. I was not trust fund, didn't come from money, married with 2 kids. And I bought them. These companies aren't even in business anymore. But I bought them from 2 separate Facebook companies. And I think I got like 70 leads. Oh, that's cool. I don't know why I did that.
Dude, I did that the other day too, and I don't know how it popped up.
Yeah, but I got like, yeah, that gave you a thumbs up. But I got like 70 leads, and no one had to teach me training. All you got to do is go on YouTube. If you're self-sufficient, I had already YouTubed and watched probably over 100 hours of John Wetmore at the time, Paul McLean.
Yep.
Like, I was watching all the people that I liked, and I was not I was not messing with people that were only writing 10 grand a month. Like, to me, if you're writing 10 grand a month, I couldn't pay my bills off of that. So I was only watching producers that was writing 40 grand plus a month, because I knew what I had inside of me and I knew what I had to do. Right. So that was kind of my methodology, was I'm only going to look at top producers, and that's what I'm going to watch. So I made my own script. I was watching so many trainings. I watched so many mortgage protection, so many final expense trainings. Like, I could recite them in the alphabet. Like, legit, I memorized the trainings of all the top producers. I could spit it verbatim. No one had to say, hey, listen, have you done this? Have you done that? I needed more, because to me, I knew I wanted to make this my career. So I got leads, and legally you can't dial till 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
I was up the first dial morning at 5 a.m. sitting at my desk, and I went and worked out and I got everything. I sat at my desk at 7 o'clock, and I still had an hour before I could dial. Like, I laminated my scripts, like I was prepped. And my point to this is, you guys, is everyone's question is, oh, I need more training. I need more support from my upline. No, you don't. You don't. Like, you guys have so much more training with Wiley and calls and infrastructure with FFL than when I started we ever had, right? That was 4 years ago that I started. Last month, we issued 8.2 million in life, and we did 2.4 million in health insurance. And we've done that in 4 years.
Dang, bro, that's awesome.
So I had no training. I didn't know what insurance was. I just knew it was very important because I wish that we would have had it when my brother died. And B, I saw the money that could be made in this industry. It's literally a legal way to print money. And if you have a conviction, a why, and a plan, you cannot fail. I don't care what anybody says. It don't matter if you suck on the phones. You can still be good at this business. You just can't quit, right? People who win are just people that never quit. Like, if you never quit, you will win eventually. Like, it will happen. You're gonna have your breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
It may be hard to see it sometimes, but you're going to have your breakthrough as long as you don't quit and you just keep going. It's that one more day mentality. It sucks. I'm just gonna do it one more day. I had a bad day on the phones. I'm just gonna do it one more day. Like,
Yeah.
every time something happens, you just add one more day. You do that, and these one more days compound and compound and compound and compound. When you look up, your life can change. And I am living testament. I came from nothing. Like, I was on a trust fund baby. Like, I did not have money. Like, it was nothing like that. And I can say that I have changed my kids, like, for generations. Like, my 2 kids are gonna have a future in a life that I never had, right? And it's all because I knew that this was the opportunity, and I just went all in. And so many people, when they start something new, they keep looking back, like what was behind them, right? And what I tell you is, if I'm gonna race Wiley in a foot race, right? And let's say that I'm beating him by 5 yards. And during the race, I turn around to see where he's at. What am I doing? I'm slowing down. Like, you have to burn your boats, eliminate all the distractions from your past, and focus on your future.
I love that.
And everyone tries to tell you not to do this, not to do this. My mom, my dad, they love me more than anybody, but they told me not to do it, right? My best friends told me not to do it. And what you're going to see is, in this business, is there's 2 types of haters. There's the haters that tell you you're never going to get started. And then when you start succeeding, there's going to be the haters that hate on your success. Okay. And when you talk about people that, if your family's telling you not to do this, it's not because that they don't think you're good. It's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't have a belief in you. You are passing a ceiling that they created for themselves. As a society, we're taught to be a good boy and a good girl, go to school every day, go to college, get massively in debt, put your money in a 401k, live in a house with a white picket fence, and die mediocre. That's what we're taught, right? Go in debt and be in debt to the man forever. When you break that cycle, everyone's going to tell you you're doing something wrong because you're breaking behaviors that they've been taught for generations, right? So when people are hating on you, they're not hating on you because they dislike you. They're hating on you because you are passing a mental ceiling that they've created for themselves, and they can't understand anything above that. So their ceiling's here. You're trying to do stuff up here. They're not hating necessarily because they dislike you. They can't understand where you're at here because you passed their level of thinking. And that's okay. If people don't want you to do this, if they tell you you're wrong, don't get pissed off at them. Just say, all right, cool, that's fine. Have a great day. And eliminate those people from your life, right? You want to be around like-minded people that are at your level or higher, right? And we got a lot of new agents on here. And what I see a lot of new agents do, and I beg you not to do this, and be real, how many days does this suck for you guys? You can raise your hand. Like, how many of you guys had a pretty shitty day today on the phones? Did anybody have a shitty day on the phones? All right. Guys, it's normal. This business does have really shitty days. What I challenge you not to do, though, when you have a shitty day, a lot of people love to say that saying, misery loves company. If you have a bad day as a new producer, don't call another new producer back. Bro, my day sucked. How was your day? Oh, my day sucked too, man. Like, you're going to just drag each other down, right? When you're having bad days, that's when you need to call people that's been in the business and done it, and they're not going to drag you down. You want to associate with people that's going to level you up, not keep you the same or be an anchor. So you need to have that accountability partner of someone that's in it, that's done it, that's won it, not someone that's at your level that's just starting. If you're a new agent and you're spending 99% of your time talking to new agents about your problems, you're failing. Stop doing it. Don't do it anymore, right? You can still be their boys. You guys can still go out and have drinks, do what you want to do. But you don't want to call them every 30 minutes after your calls and talk about what's going wrong. You need to call and say, hey, you're my upline. Here's some recordings of my calls. What am I doing wrong so I can fix it, right? because you want to talk to somebody that's already done it. And that's kind of my sauce to you guys that are new agents. Like, stop reaching out to other new agents because people love to do that because it's comfortable. Reach out to someone that's going to tell you, hey, listen, like, you're not doing good here. This is what we have to tweak, and this is how we have to fix it. So that would be like my biggest like nugget for you new agents.
Yeah. Hey,
And
no, this got me super fired up, dude. And I know you've been on a roll, but I mean, dude, you're filling me up with the spirit, man. So can you guys put a 1 in the chat for Tyler just bringing the heat? Because honestly, this has been gold, dude. Yeah, show some love.
and guys, and the last thing I want to like, there's a bunch more things I want to talk about. Wiley, if there's anything in particular you want me to hit on, dude.
I got a couple questions for you, but keep going.
All right, cool. The next thing I want to talk about is producing and building. I think you have to be a producer before you can become a builder, right? I came in my first year. Again, I knew nothing about insurance. I think I issued like $487,000 year one.
Jeez.
And I wasn't that good. I sucked really bad. But what I did is I just worked 7 days a week.
Yep.
I told them, I'm like, y'all aren't going to see me. I'm going to be gone. I'll be home when I can. But I knew that if I shrunk time, that I would beat everyone else. And if you're a new agent and you're only buying 25 leads a week and you're only running 8 appointments, and I'm a new agent and I'm buying 100 leads, I'm running 50 appointments, I'm making double the dials, I'm going to shrink time and learn this business inside and out, backwards and forwards faster than everyone else. So it's about just doubling up your activity, getting more dials, getting more appointments, and trying to shrink time. And what I did in 6 months was I learned more, I believe, than a lot of people learned in a year and a half to 2 years, because I was working 7 days a week. I was constantly, running appointments. And it worked out for me, right? And then after having proof of concept, and that was my one mistake that I made, is I thought I had to do it first before I could hire, right? Like, I got to do it first before I can hire anyone else. But that's not the case, guys. If you're brand new, you can start hiring now. Plug them in with Wiley, plug them in with your upline on the phone, and let them be the example to say, hey, this is what I'm making. This is what the system looks like. You can get started with your boy, and we can get both you guys making 20 to 30 stacks in 4 or 5, 6 months. So start hiring off rip, and then you're going to build that funnel. You're going to build that pipeline, and that's really what's going to help your growth. Is just not waiting, starting to hire day one as you're a new producing agent. And if you do that and you're not shy, you don't have to go spend $20,000 on a ZipRecruiter campaign. You don't have to go spend money on a recruiter. When you're out at Walmart, talk to that kid that's sweeping cigarette butts out of the freaking gas station parking lot in the rain, that's getting paid $9 an hour. He sells one policy and makes more than he made working 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You hire those people like that, that's the people that's going to appreciate this opportunity. Your people are out there. Every breathing, walking person with a pulse is a potential client or a potential hire. But how many of you guys literally look at it that way? How many of you guys, when you go out, actually talk about your business? You don't, right? So if you're not talking about it to everybody, full transparency, I was out at a bar called Cowboys last Thursday night. It was ladies' night. I was at Cowboys, all right? I start talking to my bartender while I'm there with this nice little friend that I was with. And like, hey, bro, what do you do? He's like, oh, I do this, I do that. I'm like, all right, cool. And we just started chatting it up. Guess what? His mom and dad owns an insurance brokerage, and I just onboarded them on Tuesday. They have 14 people, and they sell Medicare, and they sell ACA, and now they're going to start selling final expense life insurance. So if you're just having those conversations everywhere that you're at, like, you're going to run into people. It's going to happen. But what I would challenge all you guys to do is to have conversations, have a digital business card on your phone, right? If you don't have a digital business card, make a digital business card. They're good to have. And then when you meet someone, just have them. And I have a digital business card, and then I make a QR code for that website. And I tell them, just scan my QR code. It adds everything. It adds my Facebook, my Instagram, because I'm really big on Instagram, and it adds my phone number. It gives them everything about me, right? And then they go on there and they see my story. They see what my life looks like, and they're more inclined to talk to me. So that's a big one that you could do to really hire agents. You don't have to spend tons of money. You just got to start talking to people, bro.
I love that. Yeah, dude, that's huge. That's huge. Well, I know you're on a tangent. I want to kind of go back to one of the early things you said, and I want to say, I've never gone through a loss like that regarding losing a brother. I think that's one of the hardest times, and you know this probably better than anyone, Tyler. In business, you're going to go through a lot of hard times. What's kind of like your mindset to get through that? Because you are a testament of how far somebody can come. And there might be a couple, you know, maybe 5, 10 people on here that are going through a rough time in the business or in life. What was your mindset during those phases?
During starting as an agent or during whenever that stuff
Just
was
like when
happening?
business was getting tough, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, dude, like this business, it does suck. But the more you do it, the less it sucks. That's just honest transparency. When you're a new agent, you're struggling with tonality. You're struggling with phone scripts. You're struggling with chargebacks, right? You're struggling with so many things. There's so many highs and so many lows. What separates the people from the winners and losers are the people that lose constantly focus on the bad parts of the business. The
Hmm.
people that win, they focus and hold on to those good things. And I can say that I never had an option to fail. Like it wasn't an option. And when I got those leads, that first batch, I legit like I called every one of them. And the ones that were bad numbers, I went and looked up their phone numbers on Google. I had some that were local. I drove to their house and I door knocked. And I just didn't stop because failing wasn't an option, right? And that's where that your mindset has to be, guys. Like you're going to have bad days. And the thing that I hate about social media and the thing that I hate about chats is all that you see is the person on top of the mountaintop slamming down their flag that they just had a $2,300 sale, that they just had a $30,000 month, they just had an $80,000 month. You don't see them getting told to screw off hundreds of times that week. Like it's very misleading because there's an unrealistic expectation of top producers from you guys and for new agents. It's like, dude, I didn't sell anything today. Like this guy, he never misses. Like I must suck. I
Right.
promise you that's not the case. You cannot believe 90% of what that you see on Facebook and what you see on Instagram is all fugazi, whatever you want to call it, right? Like all it is them getting at the top of the mountaintop. You're not seeing the struggles. Top producers get more no's than anyone else. They just gotten so conditioned to hear them that it doesn't bother. And what separated me from anyone else, my answer always was buy more leads. If I had a great day, I bought more leads. If I had a bad day, I bought more leads. If I was happy, I bought more leads. If I was sad, I bought more because you have to keep your pipeline full. Like if your pipeline's not full, I would rather have an overabundance of leads than an underabundance of leads. And it didn't matter if I got age leads, if I got IUL leads, if I got mortgage leads, a lead was a lead, but I always had more leads that I could call, right? And I think that that's essential for your business is always having a big pipeline of leads. And I know everyone says their leads are the best. Everyone runs different lead types, right? And I mean, like me, I have my own lead company. I have 3 of my downlines. They have their own lead companies. Like there's no right or wrong leads. It's
Yeah.
just you have to understand what you have to do to work them, right? If you're buying age leads, you need to get 3 or 400 of them. If you're buying fresh leads, you need at least 50 to 75 a week. Like if you're full time, right? And you got to understand what type of work's required for what type of lead. And when you understand that and you put that in, that's when stuff starts to change. And what that we've developed on my side with our leads, our exclusive leads, and also our AI platform, our CRM, and our dialing platform, it just makes it so much easier for agents with that barrier to entry, and it helps them get started so much faster. So we've just tried to take everything that we've done. We've developed our CRM, we've developed our leads, we've developed our AI bot to where everything almost is running self-sustainably. And those new agents have as much opportunity as they can to win with clients.
Mm-hmm. No, dude, that's fire. Well, there's a ton to unpack. One of the things that you brought up was, you know, Fugazi on Instagram. And I've seen your Instagram, and obviously I follow you, and it's really well put together. And in the beginning, I think it's really hard for somebody to go out and start posting and start sharing the opportunity. Will you speak to that person that's kind of on the fence about like sharing their success, why that's important, and then like what type of Instagram post they'd be making early on?
Yeah, I think that it is imperative to get on Instagram or to Facebook and talk about what you do for 2 reasons. Number one, it starts to give you credibility in the space. And number two, it gives you an opportunity not only to hire people, but to acquire new clients.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest thing, and what you're going to see is, and this is why that you need to be making reels and you need to be making stories and opening up your Instagram and not making it private. Complete strangers are going to support you more than your family and friends ever will. I'm going to say this again. Complete strangers are going to support you, buy from you, and contract under you more than your friends and family ever will. You can go and talk to your mom and your dad and Johnny and Susie and your cousin and everybody else on the phone. They're not going to take you as serious as a complete stranger. I don't know why that is, but it's just the case. It's factual. It happens. Familiarity breeds contempt. People that's known you since you were 12 years old and seen you do a lot of dumb stuff, they're going to think about that when you're trying to hire them.
Yep.
Stop trying to convince them. Dude, I'm making $3 million a year, and I got people from my childhood that's like, man, that guy Tyler, I think he's doing something that ain't working. It's not even real. It's fake. Like, people are not going to believe you that know you to a certain extent. And if they do, bring them on board. But that's why you need to get on a public platform, and you need to be posting multiple times. You need to be using hashtags, trending music. If you want to spend the money, boost your reels, boost your ads.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend money on buying leads. You can spend money on boosting your reels, but you need to do research. I always challenge people to hashtag go on Instagram and do hashtag life insurance and search it up and find an influencer or content creator that you like. Look at the reels that they're doing and make a fake Instagram just to send reels to. And everything that's quality, send them to that Instagram. Every time you get it, fill it up with 50 to 100 pieces of content, then make it your own, rewrite it, and make your own reels and ads.
That's fire.
Use trending hashtags, use trending sounds, and then post it, and you're going to get traction. You're going to hit algorithms. And at first, you're not going to get 20,000 views, but you keep doing it, and you're going to get better. You're going to start to hit more algorithms, and you're going to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fire. That's really good. Will you guys put a 2 in the chat for everything that Tyler's been giving us today? Because if you guys aren't taking notes, I always say note Nate. Oh my God, dude, I can barely speak today. Note takers are money makers, baby. I'm going to be open to this or Q&A because I know a ton of our guys have direct questions for you. But one question I wanted to ask Tyler was, how do you determine, because you're running a massive agency, dude, a lot of people want your time. How are you determining who's in your inner circle?
The people that earn it.
And what does earning it look like?
I tell this to people all the time. Like, when everyone on this call has 100% mortality rate, we're all going to die, right? And when you're sitting on your deathbed, are you going to be wishing that you had those Air Force Ones back? Are you going to be wishing you had your Mustang GT? Or are you going to be wishing you had your Corvette? Or are you going to be wishing you had your house? No. When you're on your deathbed, you're going to say, man, if only I had 2 more years. If only I could hug my son one more time. If only I could kiss my wife one more time. If only I could go on the boat one more time. You're not going to wish for anything that is tangible that you can hold. You're going to wish for more time. Your most valuable currency in your life that you cannot buy, you can't make more of it, it can't be duplicated, is time. So you need to surround yourself with people that's going to not take as much of your time and maximize what they get from it. It is truly a transactional relationship. How much time am I going to give you versus how much ever are you going to give me?
Mm-hmm.
If I spend time with people, and you guys all have this, like, and if you're this person, stop being this person. Every time you call, you have 30 questions, and it's, oh, I need more training. I need more this. I need more that. And your upline gives you action items, and you don't complete them. If I do that with someone and like after twice, I ask them to do things, and then they call me for more when they didn't finish the task that I asked them to complete, I'm not giving them time anymore. I'm not going to do it. Because the people that are the top producers and the people that want to win are the ones that actually are longing for information. That when you give them a direction and an action item, they take charge, they take action, and they implement what you're talking to them about. And if you want to be a producer that only produces $3 or $4 grand a month, that's fine. Like, you can do that. I have hundreds of agents that do $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Am I going to give them the same time as one of my generals running a $500,000 agency or a producer writing 50K? No, I don't like them any less, but they're content with where they're at, and that's fine. Everyone on this call, guys, if you don't want to do this full time, that's cool. Like, you can, like, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever makes you happy. But you can't expect someone that's got hundreds of people to give you the same attention when you're like you're just sucking more life force from them than what you're giving back, right? So my big thing and how that I determine that is A, people I can trust, and B, people that's just going to ask me questions. And when I give them answers, like we move forward, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest thing is just seeing who's using the most of your life force in those moments and who's asking the most questions. Asking a lot of questions is amazing, but be attentive with the questions you're asking. And actually, when you get an answer, you need to follow up with those action items and not just call to vent. You can't call and complain to your upline every day. That's not how this works, right? We're to help build people, not to be Dr. Phil and family therapists.
Yeah. That's gold, dude. I got a question. It's kind of meant for me, and I'll try to articulate it for everybody. But you got a million things going on, 100 people calling you a day, and for me, I feel like I'm in that very similar boat. So I'm kind of curious, like, what is your daily process like in determining, what you're going to be getting done on a daily basis, and then also maintaining such a big business, you have to have good habits. Like, what do your habits look like, and what do your daily processes look like?
Yeah, dude, I think daily processes, like for me personally, I know everyone's like, get up at 4 a.m., do a cold plunge, run 13 miles. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys you got to do that to be successful. You absolutely do not. Like,
Nope.
me personally, I do get up every morning at about 6 o'clock, 6:30, but that's just my biological clock. Okay. Most of the time I get up, I go to the gym, and then I come home. And as soon as I get home, before my day gets started, I go through my email and I look at my action items for the day. And I like to do, I have on my iPhone, I have a note. Like everyone knows how iPhone has the notes, right?
Nope.
If anyone here has an Android, may God have mercy on your soul. But everyone with iPhones, right? You have a note. And you need to have, because we all forget what's going on. We have so much going on during the day. And you need to have a to-do list on your notes. And throughout the day, when stuff happens and you have a client call you, or you have an issue with an agent, or an issue with a chargeback, or an issue with a carrier, you need to put it in that note that this is something that needs to be completed. So all throughout my day, every time something pops up, I open the notes and I voice to text, I need to call Jennifer tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I need to call America at 1:30 to resolve a debt issue. So the first thing I do the next morning is I get up, I open my calendar, look at my calendar, and then I look at my to-do list of what all that I have to do.
Right.
Right. And then based off of that, that dictates what's going to take my time. And I always work on putting out the biggest fire first, right? The biggest fire that's going to burn down the village, that's the one that you want to tackle first.
Mm.
And then after that, I go from the most important to the least important. And then after that, also, I have a list of all of my agency owners. And again, my day now is going to look different than my day 2 years ago when I started, right? Or when I was still running business. But for me today, I'm wanting to talk to my leaders at least twice a week, like my big leaders at least twice a week. And there's some people when there's stuff going on, we're talking multiple times a day, depending on what stage of business and what that they're going through. So that's my biggest thing. And then making sure that I have time every single day, right? To sit down and I sit down for 20 to 30 minutes and I do a SWOT analysis on my business. I know that's crazy.
What
A
is
lot of
that?
people, strength, weaknesses, areas of opportunity, and threats. That's what I'm looking at, right? Like I'm like, what's our strengths? What's our weaknesses? What's attacking the business and what's our threats? That's what I'm looking for every day because it does shift, right? And we're in a business, guys. This is a very, very dog eat dog business. And especially the larger that you get, if you ever build something worth having, someone else is going to try to steal it.
Mm.
That's just the way it is. And when you build a big business, you are fighting against other groups, other agents, chargebacks, agents doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. So you have to have a very attentive eye on your business. And even as a producer, guys, if you're not watching your business daily, if you get up in the morning, you need to get up 30 minutes earlier. You need to look at your commission reports. You need to look at your chargebacks, and you need to be tracking your business and what's going on in that business to make sure that it stays clean and it stays on the books. Same thing with a large agency. You got to look at those threats. You got to look at what's working, what's not working, and you got to try to find a way to pivot to fix whatever your issues are.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I love that. I love that. All right, quick one, and then I'm gonna open this for Q&A. What was your relationships with chargebacks in the beginning? Because I know that kind of people are a little afraid of that, but what was your relationship thought process behind it?
Man, I'll tell you. So when I first started, I was just trying to sell everybody, and I was hard everybody, and I was very, very good at building emotion. So when I was either on the phone or in home, I would get these people so emotional and thinking they need this that they were spending astronomical amounts of money a month on insurance. And then one day I woke up and it was a Friday afternoon and I was expecting to get paid like $2,000 and I had $12,000 in chargebacks.
That's fun.
And I'm like, whoa, like again, I was a new agent. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. So I started calling my clients and they're like, look, it was just too much money. I couldn't afford it because I was writing, $300-$400 premiums like nobody's business.
Right.
And I called this girl that I just met at the time. Now we're actually business partners in a couple of ventures, Allison DePasqua, because she was killing it. And I said, Allison, I'm like, can you help me? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I walked her through my process and how that I sold. And she's like, Tyler, she's like, you're building too much emotion. And what happens when you leave? The emotions leave with you, but the bill stays. This
Mm.
isn't, how many of you guys have went to buy a car, right? You go to buy a car, you test drive it, and you tell them you want to spend $300 a month for a premium, a monthly payment for a car. And then they go show you that Lexus, like 3 models up, and they don't tell you how much it is. You're like, dude, this is dope. And they're like, oh, great, you can have this, but I know you wanted to spend 300, but this is 600, right? Can you afford it? And you're like, oh, it's fine. I just won't eat for 2 weeks out of the month, right? You buy that Lexus and then you take it home and then you can't afford it. You're stuck with it. Life insurance, all they got to do is pick up the phone, call the carrier and say, yo, I can't afford this. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
So what I started doing then was I started transitioning. I still built emotion and I still built a sense of urgency, but I would give them 3 different payment options based off of their budget, right? So let's say they made $3,000 a month, okay? I would show up $100 a month, $200 a month, and $300 a month.
Solid.
And the emotion, and they say, oh, I want the $300 a month. I want my wife to be good. If anything happens, I want my wife to be taken care of. I'm like, all right, cool. So I circle the $300 and then I turn it around and I'm like, hey, listen, now Mary and John, let me ask you, every month when this $300 payment comes out a year from now, is this $300 payment going to stress you out? Like, is this going to stress you out? And if so, let's go down to the $200 mark. Like, I want your family. Insurance is only good, Mary, if you keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If you get it and cancel it, it does you no good, right? So does $200 a month work better in your budget? Yes. Okay, perfect. And then I just started typing. So I focused more on the urgency of what would happen if you didn't have this. And I didn't put as much emphasis on like the emotional behind like, hey, what happens if a police officer comes and, Mary, you're here. John's supposed to be home at 6.
Oh,
You're
you were
cooking.
doing that close?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Oh my gosh, dude. There's only
Yeah.
a few folks that do that. That one's tough.
Dude, I'm lethal with it. Lethal.
Oh my. Yeah, and you got a good story for it too, man. That's powerful.
But the reality is it's true though, dude. Like it's 100% true. And what we do is real. So I started getting better at just like selling based off of, the urgency, what it looks like without it, and not so much just like the emotions and getting those super huge premiums.
Yeah.
I mean, my average premium is still 2,800 to $3,000, right? But it sticks. And ever since I made that tweak, it really did help.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's huge. All right, I got one last question for you. I ask every guest that comes on. You're having a ton of success in the business, but my question for you, dude, is, for Tyler Adams, what do you want your legacy to be when, it's all said and done, when you're 85, dude, the whole 9 yards? What's your legacy?
Oh, that's easy, dude. So what motivates me, I have 2 kids. My daughter, she just turned 13 and my son just turned 10. I just took them to their first stayover camp for a week yesterday and today. My motivation is whenever that I die, and my lawyer and my accountant goes to show them what their dad left them. That when they show them everything that I left, my kids A are going to be good humans that have morals and ethics, and B, when they show them everything I left them, my son and my daughter is going to look at each other and be like, holy shit, like he just changed all of our lives forever. It was all worth it. Right. And for me, that's what motivates me, is to have generational change. And in that moment, when they look at each other, everything comes full circle. I don't have to say I did it for you. They're going to know I did it for them. Right. and they already do, man. It's really awesome having kids, and especially when you condition them and show them that hard work is necessary to reap rewards.
Mm.
Um, they're already seeing it now, but to have that full circle moment when I am gone and I do pass away and we do change things for generations, that's what motivates the hell out of me, dude. Like, that's what makes me tick, and just daily being able to give them the life that I never had. And my goal now isn't even about my income. I truly believe in rising tides raise all ships.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not focused about my paycheck. Like, if you're focused about your paycheck when you're helping a client, like, you're not doing the right thing. If you're focused on your paycheck when you're helping agents, you're not doing the right thing. Like, if you truly do right by everybody else, money is a byproduct. I can promise you. If you have commission breath on the phone, that person's going to hear it, right? You need to do what's best for them, qualify them for the actual right product and what's going to suit their needs, not what's best for you, and practice something called guilt-free selling. If you ever feel an ounce of guilt when you're writing a policy, you need to stop because you're doing something you shouldn't.
That's gold.
So, and again, if you're guilt-free selling, guess what? You're going to have less chargebacks. Your clients are going to feel that. They're going to be happier. They're going to be good. And when that time comes and they do need you, they're going to call you because you're going to actually be there because you did what's right by them. So I always focus on that guilt-free selling. And that's what I talk to my agents about. Like, if you feel guilty, you do something different, guys. Like, offer them a different solution. So that is something that I really like to preach to my people. And then, the last thing, bro, Wiley, that I like to talk to my guys about, I think that if you practice enough, if you're on the phones enough, you're going to get good. If you call enough, you're going to get good. If you run enough leads, you're going to get good. But you're not going to be able to do any of that without your mindset, right? How many of you guys in here are like, how many of you guys think that you're doing everything you can to feed your mind, your body, and your soul to get better and to be entrepreneurs? Just raise your hand. How many of you guys think you're doing a good job of setting yourself?
Big on.
Are any of you guys like, what are you guys doing daily? And everyone's like, Tyler, I'm doing everything I can. Like, my life is my business. And right now, if your life should be your business. Like, this is what supports every other area of your life. This is what pays your bills. This is what gets you food. This is what pays your rent. This is what's going to set you up for success. And what that you're consistently feeding your, and I did this with Wiley. And,
Yeah, this is awesome.
you already know what's coming. I did this with Wiley in Omaha. And I challenge all of you guys, if you truly think you're doing all that you can and you're feeding your mind, your heart, your soul, and your body, everything it needs to be successful. When you guys get off this call, all right, log into your Instagram, go to your reels, and scroll through the first 30 reels that pops up on your Instagram. And what you have done when you do that, you're going to see unfiltered what that you are training your body and your mind to consume daily.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to see. And if you're too ashamed to show that to your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your upline, your business partner, and you're ashamed of what you see, you need to work on it. And that's okay. Nobody's perfect. Right? If it's nothing but like booze, women, everything else, all right, you might want to change that. Let's Google some Jordan Peterson, reset your algorithms.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You have to reset your algorithms to get yourself to, every time you log on, you're feeding your psyche and your mind something that's building you up, not decaying your brain, right? That's imperative. So look at what you're consuming daily, and that is what that you've programmed your body to see. And change it. Like, if you truly want to win, you have to change habits, and it has to become more comfortable. Rerouting your brain, and guys, it's okay if you're struggling. If you struggle with addiction, if you struggle with, alcoholism, if you struggle with drugs, if you struggle with pornography, that's okay, guys. Like, you're human. But rerouting your brain to break those cycles is the hardest thing that you've ever done. It's like that you're in a field of grass up to your chest, and you're walking through a field of grass up to your chest, and you're going to one village, and your whole life, everyone in your circle has walked down this one path of grass to that village. That one, like this wide, is completely clear to get you to that village. That's your mental pathways. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to forge a new path and stop walking this clear way, and you got to start walking a different direction in that grass every day to get to your village. The same place. And what happens as you're beating down this path? This grass that you've walked in your whole life starts to rise up, rise up, rise up. And if you follow that new path long enough, your old path is going to grow up and you're not going to see it anymore. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's necessary. Like with today's culture, we're taught to not be productive. We're taught to do everything we can to be counterintuitive to our mental health, to our physical health, and to our spiritual health, right? That is what we're programmed to do, is to go for quick, impulsive, easy things. So if you really want to win, have a deep dive in your psyche. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, am I truly doing everything I can? And if you're not, that's okay. Start fixing it. Get an accountability partner. Change those daily mental habits. And I promise you guys, if you do that, shit will change. Not only in your business life, but also in your personal life and every other area. You just have to make the change.
Dang, dude. Honestly, Tyler, we've had a ton of phenomenal guests and guys that have been pouring a ton of insight, but this is hands down the best call that we've had all year. So I want to say thanks for getting on with us and just being vulnerable, dude, sharing everything that you got. You got 10 minutes?
Yeah, what's up? Let's go.
Cool. Hey guys, any questions that you have, feel free to open up and fire away. I always say the question that you don't ask is the only bad question. So unmute your mics. We got a couple minutes for Tyler. So go ahead and do your thing, boys.
Hey guys, is my connection good? I don't know if it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tyler, I have a question, man. As far as like the referrals, do you guys run referrals?
Of course. I can't
Okay,
see
could you give me
you
like a
talking.
pitch
I'm
of
trying to
His
see.
name is
Good.
Ramsey.
All right, cool, Ramsey. So I can tell you, bro, I have a guy, his name is Brent DeParis. This kid is a referral king. Like he makes 10 to 15 grand additional off of his referral network. So every time he finishes a sale, he does something called beneficiary selling. So let's say that I sell Wiley a policy, okay? This is genius what he does. Let's say I sell Wiley a policy. I say, all right, Wiley, who's your beneficiaries? Wiley gives me his beneficiaries, right?
Writing this down.
Let's say he says his beneficiary is Zach and Ethan, all right? When I get done with the sales pitch, I'm going to say, all right, Wiley, so what I'm going to do, I just need you to give me Zach and Ethan's number. And tell them I'm going to be calling them. I'm going to walk through Zach and Ethan, what it looks like if something was to happen as them the beneficiaries, how that they're going to get the insurance, how they're going to qualify for it. So right there, he calls and talks to the two beneficiaries and he turns them into clients. Hey, your boy Wiley just got life insurance. He put you guys beneficiaries. So I'm just calling to walk you guys through. If anything happens, this is how this works. This is how you get paid. And this is how you take care of his affairs. By the way, while I got him set up, what do you guys have for life insurance? And he'll sell the beneficiaries. And not only that, he's asking about referrals for, hey, I'm just letting you know, I'm giving, you know, a $50 gift card. If you have any friends or family that just want to hear about life insurance, if you'll just give them my name and number, or you can just give it to me and I'll shoot them a text. Just let them know that I'm calling. Guys, that's all it is. And if you do a good job of building rapport and they love you, that's clutch. And you got to get better at turning one sale into three, right? So when you're on the phone with someone, if it's what do y'all run? What kind of leads do you guys run, Wiley?
I would just say FBX.
FEX. So if you're doing FEX, and when I would sell an FEX, I would focus on talking about, hey guys, just letting y'all know, my name's Tyler. I'm a state licensed underwriter for insurance in the state of Florida or whatever state you're in. We specialize in the final expense burial programs. We also, for most of our clients that are grandparents, we have the children's policy for your grandchildren. They're super cheap. It's a very good gift that you could give any child and the parents. And it's only $8 to $10 a month. I'll cover that with you guys at the end. And then we also special in retirement planning, such as annuities. A lot of our elderly clients have been losing a lot of money in their 401ks. Annuities is essentially where you can make money when the market's doing good and never lose money in any downturn. But if you have questions about any of those today, please just let me know and I'm here to help. And then I continue my pitch. And then at the end, I ask them during the pitch how many grandchildren that I have. And I always try to turn that into multiple children's policies as well, especially when you're doing FEX.
Dude, that is so gold. Great question, Ramsey.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Got you, bro.
Tyler, thank you for hopping on, brother. I appreciate, all the knowledge and the story you shared with us. I do have a quick question regarding like recruiting.
Mhm.
So we have a couple guys that just want to hire the guy at the drive-through serving them some coffee. Is there like a specific way that you go about that, or do you have like a certain pitch that you use on folks, or like, you know, are you like trying to poke holes right away? What's sort of like the way you go about that?
No, dude, I just ask them. I say, hey, let me ask you, how do you like where you work? You know, like, how do you like where you work? And they're like, oh, it's good or it's cool. And I'm like, what do you like the flexibility? And I just ask them about their life first, right? And then after that, that's when I'm like, well, listen, man, I'm just letting you know, we're always looking for people, whether it be part-time or full-time. You know, my agents make anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 a month, just depending on the effort that they put in. I'd love to take you out for coffee and talk about it. And I'll send them my phone number, right? That's a biggie. And guys, you need to be leveraging Instagram to hire. If you're not trying to hire Instagram influencers and MLMers, you have lost your mind.
Mhm.
People, MLM and Instagram never make money. They don't. I promise. You need to start messaging them. And when you're doing it, please don't be that guy that's like, you take a girl out for the first date, you give her one drink and you're like, hey, you're coming home with me tonight and you're going to marry me, right? They're not going to do it, right? If you find an influencer or someone of influence in Instagram that you want to hire, follow them, like 15 of their posts, not immediately try to recruit them. When they post a story, put the fire emoji at their stories and develop an and let them know who you are for a week or two. And then when you go to message them and actually have a conversation, it's not like, hey, I followed you, I want to hire you right now, and you don't know who I am.
Mhm.
Take time. Build a breadcrumb trail there of history with them for a couple weeks, and then you try to generate that conversation because they see that you're supporting their page. They see that you're liking their posts, you're commenting, you're liking their stories. And then when you go to try to recruit them on Instagram, they're much more receptive to a conversation.
So I appreciate
That's
that.
golden, dude.
Gotcha, bro.
All right, one more question.
All right, we good?
I think we might be good, dude. They're scared of the heat.
Hey guys, and if you ever have questions, hit me up on Instagram.
I think we
like-
got E's got one more. E, go ahead.
All right, so you built a big agency and everything. How did you balance selling and hiring and training new agents all at the same time?
All right, so I am very big on delegation and being good at what I'm good at and not good at what I'm not good at. All right. Full transparency, I was in this business for a month and I hired a dialer. I lost money for 2 weeks. I had to go get a payday loan to be able to afford to pay my dialer while I trained him. But I knew that if I was a really good closer and I could make someone a really good dialer and they could have me stacked appointments every day, I could double everyone else's activity. And then I transitioned that into recruiting. And then I transitioned that into hiring. If you are a high producing agent, all right, and I say this to every one of my agents, if you're a top producer and you don't have a virtual assistant, you are nuts. You are insane. You are wasting so much time. Like, if you're a top producer, go outsource a VA out of the country for minimal cost. You can go to Upwork and you can find a virtual assistant that can make your Instagram post for you, that can build your graphics, that can call your chargebacks, that can call your clients for customer service, call your missed payments, even dial for you. And you can get them for a couple $100 a week, 100, 150 bucks a week. If you're not outsourcing, like, that's nuts. I was very big on delegating and doing what I didn't want to do, right? Like, if I was bad at something, why would I keep doing it? Why wouldn't I find someone that could do it better and pay them to do it? And with the VAs that we have in the Philippines, guys, that's the best place to get them from. They can do all of the stuff that you don't want to do. So if you want to grow, you got to add more time, right? Like, if you're a top producer, does you going shopping for groceries on a Monday afternoon for 4 hours, is that worth it? Probably not. You're better off going to Instacart, ordering your shit and dialing for 4 hours and closing a deal, making $1,000. So what helped me grow was I recruited one-to-many, not one-to-one. So recruiting one-to-one means that I'm going to go after 100 single agents. That's great. You need to do that. But I got a niche for recruiting a one-to-many. I'm going to find that influencer or that guy in health insurance or that guy in ACA or that guy in Medicare that's already got 300 agents. I'm going to hire him, and hiring that one person by default, I got these 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm shrinking time and I'm doing more than everyone else is doing by just hiring one person than hiring 100, right? And then fully automating my life, right? In my life, there's two buckets. There's MMAs, which is what I call money-making activities, and there's pleasure. That's it. I'm either doing something that's a money-making activity or pleasure. There is no in between. Everything else is automated. My VAs, they do all the stuff they don't want to do. They make all my content, my websites, they write everything up. They call my clients, they call my agents, they do all the contracting, they order my groceries. When I need my kids picked up, they order the Uber to get my kids black and bring it to my house. My life is automated. Like me going and spending 8 hours at a grocery store or going and doing shit that I don't want to do, that serves no purpose. Like I physically will make more money working than going and doing these activities. So, and with having kids, I want to have as much time when I'm with them to be physically present with them, right? So by doing that and automating your life, it just makes it so much easier to grow because you can have so much more time to do and to have those conversations that you want to have and start wrapping your mind around recruiting one-to-many instead of just one-to-one.
I like that.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
That's real.
All right, boys, we're gonna wrap this thing up.